Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So friends, we are discussing social change, and to recapitulate what we have done yesterday, first I wrote the definition of social change, and I said that there are two types of definitions of social change, a narrow definition and a broad definition. According to narrow definition, social change would be defined as change in social structure. No other type of change such as economic change, technological change, cultural change, religious conversions can be called change, social change strictly speaking, because they may be causes of social change. They may lead to change in social structure, but unless there is a change in the structure of society, social structure means sum total of normative relationships, we will not call them to be a type of social change. They are causes of social change. And according to the broad view of social change, any type of change in social order, cultural symbols, beliefs, and also practices, social practices, can be covered under social change. Then I said that there are varieties of theories of social change. There are linear theories or evolutionary theories. There are cyclical theories. There are dialectical theories, Karl Marx's theory, dialectical theory. And then I discuss the impact of industrialization on various facets, various aspects of Indian society. Industrialization has changed the world. Industrialization has many ramifications. Industrialization changed the nature of work, division of labor. In Gisbert's book, work is defined in a particular manner, and it's important to see the definition of work because he wants to make a distinction between work, unemployment, and leisure. According to Gisbert, unemployment is the involuntary absence of work, which means that a person is available for work, but there is no work. In Indian census, we define work in a very standardized sense that we divide the whole population of the country into two parts, workers and non-workers. There is no definition of work as such, but the census enumeration says that there are some people who have worked during the preceding year for any part of the year. That means work may be done for one day or work may be done for an entire year. Then we divide workers into two categories, main workers and marginal workers. Those people who have worked for 6 months or more, they are called main workers. And those who have worked for less than 6 months, they are called marginal workers. Then certain categories of population such as old, children, students, prisoners, beggars, they are classified as non-workers. Now this kind of classification tells us what is the condition of employment in the country and what are the differences between different socio-economic categories according to regions, according to age, according to education, male and female, religion, and social status, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and others, regarding employment situation. A better definition of work in India is found in National Sample Survey. And the Planning Commission of Government of India uses National Sample Survey definition for work. And it is on the basis of that definition, NSS definition, that analysis of employment, unemployment, etc. is done. I thought this definition of work given in Gisbert very simple and brief. It's worth noticing. It says that work is a human transitive activity existing for the sake of its object, regarding which society acts as its norms and destination. Since this is a definition, I thought that I will just write down the definition on the board. Work is a human transitive activity. Existing for the sake of its object. Here the meaning of the word transitive is that anybody can do the work. You know, it's not one or two persons, one or two workers, specific work. It's not specific workers. Anybody can do the work. Agricultural work, industrial work, insurance, banking, anybody can work. It's not that one particular person only has to work. It's work, it's objective. Anybody can work. Existing for the sake of its object. There is some purpose of work. And regarding which society acts as its norms and destination. Associated with all kinds of work, there are norms, professional considerations, ethics, values, certain social expectations. And in that sense, work is an institution. Working hours, for how long you will work, rewards, qualifications, exactly in what manner you will work. If there are any values or ethics associated with work, that is all social. Work is a social activity. Why does he say so? Because Gisbert distinguishes work from unemployment and leisure. In case of leisure, work cannot be disassociated from the worker. It's like if in the leisure time which is at your disposal, leisure means the time at your disposal, when you have finished your work. So in leisure time, if you find happiness in painting, then you only have to paint. See, work can be done by anyone. But leisure activity of painting has to be done by you. If someone else make the painting for you, you will not derive that much happiness. You will not derive happiness, perhaps. No happiness. If you like poems, then if you like to write poems, compose poems, then you compose poems. You cannot ask anyone else to compose poems for you. And in that sense, work is transitive and leisure demands your own involvement. The main reason why Gisbert is making a connection between industrialization and work is that in industrial society, industries will produce so much that they can meet the requirements of a very large population. And perhaps a time will come when so much work will not be required. Working hours can be shortened. A small number of persons can work for the entire mankind, for the whole world. A few factories located in one part of the world, in one country, can meet the industrial requirements of a specific kind of the whole world. And in that situation, then, there will be more leisure. And when needs of the entire mankind can be met by work of a small number of persons, then perhaps work will also not be associated with maintenance of people or sustenance or rewards. Then rewards will be based on something else. And I like this part of Gisbert very much, which I do not find anywhere else written in this manner, that the future of mankind then will depend on how this leisure is utilized. What do people do in their leisure time? And there will be two kinds of people. For one category, he says alpha type, alpha men, and beta type or beta men. Alpha men will use their leisure for the sake of knowledge or truth, goodness, beauty. And beta type people will follow others' footsteps. Normal people will be like beta type. They will follow others. And these are the type of people on whom management research will be done, because their behavior can be influenced through advertising. They are more of consumer type, clients, consumers. And the future of mankind depends more on this kind of people who they are not forced to work. There is no reason why they should spend their time in these things. But these are the people who will decide the future of mankind. Because on their own, they have an intrinsic motivation to pursue what they want to pursue. Let me read one paragraph from here. And he says that this industrialization in that sense leads to dualistic division of labor. There is a dualistic division of labor. Not division of labor in the sense of work. There is division of labor in work. according to Emile Durkheim and his contemporaries who have written on industrialization, the term division of labor was used for division of various types of occupational activities. Now, this dualistic division of society, since labor is not so important now, so he feels that society is a more appropriate term. So, dualistic division of society into two types, alpha and beta. I am reading. If the situation were essentially such as has been foreshadowed in these pages, it is quite probable that the cybernetic society, could be roughly divided into two kinds of men. Those who use their leisure in activities conducive to the stability and progress of society. Some people whose activities will lead to stability and progress of society, who could be called the alpha men. And those who spend it in serving to their own comforts and conveniences, the beta men. So beta men look for their convenience and comforts. Alpha men are from inside compelled to go for higher aims of life, or they contribute to society. The former would be those persons who would devote most of their lives to the search for knowledge, truth, and goodness in all aspects. Truth, goodness, knowledge in all aspects. This would amount to a modern version of good life to Yu Zhen, as was the ideal of the sages of the old. Zen is one form of Buddhist philosophy which was and is still prevalent in Japan. These would be the men on whom the future of society would depend. Among them, we would find eminent philosophers, educators, and humanists, as well as scientists, technologists, jurists, and statesmen. Their degree of eminence would be defined by society through the institutions designed ad hoc. Beta men, on the contrary, would be the ordinary citizens, devoted to the ordinary pursuits of life, more intent on enjoying the fruits of the tree of progress than on helping it to grow. In practical life, they will be more likely to follow the lead given by others than to initiate action, to assimilate ready-made opinions by the press and mass media of communication than to think for themselves, though they will talk, discuss, and vote on these concepts as if they were their own. They will pretend as they are expressing their own views, but actually their views are all formed by the media. So in the future, in industrialization, the future society will be divided into two types of men. And what will happen to society will depend on the activities of alpha type rather than beta type. There are some people who will go for convenience, comforts, and their action will be determined by information, media, their understanding of what others feel, do, believe. Yesterday, I also tried to link industrialization to other institutions of society, that industrialization will affect education, industrialization will affect gender relations, industrialization will affect family, etc., etc. Now, whether there is any effect of industrialization on religion, on that matter, our research is inconclusive. And Gisbert, first gives a study, he quotes 3 studies in which he shows that industrialization has actually increased religion in India. Contrary to the belief that industrialization will lead to secularization, in case of India, you find more religion among industrial workers than outside industry. And then he also gives example of youth, students, more educated people who are less religious than others. But there he says that the reason may have nothing to do with industrialization, but if educated youth, students, they are less religious, then the reasons for being less religious or atheists will have to be found somewhere else. Maybe in change of values, maybe experiences, maybe the milieu, condition, total conditions, social conditions in which they operate. So, he said that the relationship is inconclusive. And sociological literature, this is one, sociology of religion is one very important area of research. And research in this field has shown that contrary to beliefs of sociologists, Emile Durkheim, Karl Marx, everyone, at one time everyone thought that industrialization will lead to secularization, but this has not happened. The nature of religion may have changed, and in some countries church attendance may have declined, and religion may be taking a much more spiritual or personal dimension, but people do believe in religion. And in that context, I would say that Talcott Parsons explains this much better than other founder fathers of sociology. Because for Talcott Parsons, religion is the search for meaning. Religion is man's response to conditions of anxiety, uncertainty, unpredictability. And man wants to find reason behind unreasonable things, behind injustice, behind exploitation, behind poverty. And religion provides some kind of meaning. Then religion makes people fight or bear the tensions or stresses of modern life much better. So like this, industrialization affects various institutions of society. Now, in this context, Gisbert also says that industrialization will lead to a cybernetic society. The concept of cybernetic society was given by Norbert Wiener. And used this concept to characterize a society marked by use of man, machine, and computers. A cybernetic society depends on combined activities of man, machines, and computers. People have used different terms for more advanced society like affluent society, knowledge society, service society, post-industrial society, post-modern society. And this concept of cybernetic society may be seen in that light. It's an advanced society in which man, machines, and computers work together. Society guided by artificial intelligence. One society is governed by artificial intelligence. It's a very different society. It will change the relationships. The relationship in cybernetic society between, say, a man and a doctor will not be of the type it was in a traditional village society. A doctor was, in India at least, quite often doctor was a Purohit. Doctor organized ritual, religious, ceremonial activities. He was also a custodian of norms of society. Now, with artificial intelligence, now your computer has become your doctor. You feed your data into computer, and through artificial intelligence, computer tells you exactly this is the problem you are suffering from. And computer will also prescribe you medicines, you can take them. This is cybernetic society. Computer-aided society in all respects, in industry, in insurance, in hospitals, in banking, in university, there is an increasing use of computers. So you can see the changeover from a nomadic, wandering, gathering, food gathering, hunting kind of society to a society based on raising animals, then a society based on horticulture, then a society based on agriculture, then machine, industry. And then in post-industrial society, there is an increasing use of computers. And whenever one mode of production is replaced by another mode of production, one technology is replaced by another technology, when there is a progress in terms of tools and techniques, there is a corresponding change in social relations. Karl Marx expressed this more powerfully than any other person. In cybernetic society in which you are making more use of computers, the traditional type of roles and relationships will change very drastically. Even classroom, I don't know, classrooms may continue, but in cybernetic society, in more advanced society, in say an educational institution like IIT, 20-25 years from now, I don't know what will be the utility of class, because the lectures by faculty members of IIT Kanpur and also lectures of the best universities and institutes, Harvard and Chicago and Cambridge, will be available on YouTube. If you want to study social change, yesterday I sent you one link in which Professor Yogen Singh, who is one of the most eminent professors of sociology, he taught in JNU, now he is retired. He is speaking on social change. Now, I think you should see that lecture. And when such lectures will be available to students on YouTube or maybe on much more improved varieties of space, why should they come to class? The nature will change. Then the nature of organization of educational institutions will have to be changed. I don't know what that will be. A postmodern, post-industrial, cybernetic society is becoming much more unpredictable. We can't say what will happen in the future. But yes, we are moving in that direction. Now this cybernetic society is also leading to three things. One, we have seen dual division of society. The dual division of society in terms of how people utilize their leisure time. Some people utilize, alpha type people utilize their leisure for knowledge, goodness, truth, beauty. Then there is growth, that is because for everyone there is growth of leisure. And third, social and individual disorganization. Social and individual disorganization. So this is okay, growth of leisure, since with the help of machine and computer you can produce very large quantities of all necessities, consumers' goods, producers' goods, services, 100 times, 1,000 times, lakh times what a man could do otherwise. Productivity of man can be raised with computers. The computers makes new possibilities possible. With computers, if we did not have computer, it was not possible to go to moon or other planets. It was not possible. In simple machine age, in the age of manufacturing, a man could not have thought of going up to moon or Mars. Now, people are aiming at other planets. Computers have revolutionized knowledge and production in various fields, in genetics, in biology, in medicine, in space research, in energy. Everywhere you find use of computers. So there are good things. This enormous rise in the volume of production per person because of machine and computers has done many good things. So it has increased leisure, but leisure is causing a dual division of society. So it's interesting to see here. We have discussed for quite some time the nature of social stratification, how society gets divided into different ranks, which can be arranged hierarchically on the basis of wealth, prestige, and power. And in social stratification, product contribution to production or your status as a worker has been an important determinant of your class position. But in post-industrial cybernetic society, social stratification will have to do more with the dual division of society, alpha types and beta types. In the coming age, this signifies that in the coming age, then society will have a two-class model, but this class is not based on one's contribution to production. This class is based more on the division on the basis of how people utilize their leisure.
Sir, don't you think the profit-making motive of the capitalist society will suffer here in this growth of leisure and dual division of society system? And as we this seems more of a communist pattern of society, and if since we usually think it is not arriving anytime soon, the communist system. So here, yeah, that's my.
Yeah, it's an interesting question that in knowledge society or in cybernetic society, whether economic classes will become redundant. This is true that more and more our classes are formed on the basis of credentials. If we look at the nature of social stratification in market economies of the West, then middle class is expanding. And as far as ownership of property is concerned, virtually by having shares in industries, mutual fund shares, a very large percentage of population has become capitalist. So middle classes are also capitalists. And this presence of joint stock companies and shareholding has spread so much, maybe in knowledge society of tomorrow, without getting transformed into a communist system, it will be some kind of communist system in which shares of industries or shares of productive organizations are held by the entire population. So the market economies are also moving in two very important features of change you can see in market economies of the West. One, expansion of middle class based on certificates, degrees, diplomas, education, credentials, achieved characteristics, not ascribed, achieved, what they achieve in life. And it's very large. Number of capitalists who earn only from profits and who do not have credentials is very, very small now. Middle class is expanding. And this also means that ownership of capital is separated from decisions about capital. Owners are not important because those people who take decisions in expanding capital are not same as the owners of capital. Ownership itself has not remained confined to 5 or 10 or 50 or 100 families. The whole society has become owner of the capital. Anybody can buy shares. When shares are sold in the market, when a company sells its shares in the market, anybody, and although the number of people having shares in major industries in India may be restricted, but we can't say that this will not happen in India. We can't rule out the possibility of a large number of Indians, at least the majority of urban people and a small proportion of rural people having shares of major industrial companies. And in that case, everybody will become owner. Decisions will be taken by those who are MBAs from IIM, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta. They will take the decision, and money will belong to a large number of people, thousands, lakhs, maybe crores of people who are in principle owner of the company. Owner of the company is not one person. We are moving in that direction. Even market, so in one sense, even market economies are moving in that utopian direction of communism, which was conceived by Karl Marx through a process of revolution. So, but the problem is that the cybernetic society is also producing some ill consequences and is leading to social and individual disorganization. The disorganization means that so far mentality of individuals and norms of larger society were governed by conditions of old times. Situation has changed. This combined use of man-machine computer has changed the situation. And this has produced enormous changes in industry, in politics, in society, in family. It must produce. But for the transitional period, there will be what we call maladjustment yesterday, using the language of Ogburn. That when different institutions or different parts, components or groups in a society change at different rates. Some change at a very fast rate, some change at a slow rate. So there is a problem of strain between two or more institutions or parts or groups or regions of society which are correlated and which are changing at different rates. So same thing is happening here, that individual norms, and one can empirically then analyze what are the norms of society, by what norms and values, our individual lives are governed, by what values and norms the whole society, social organization is governed. And one can find that many of these norms and values, which were okay 500 years ago, are not appropriate in the changing circumstances. And therefore, when man-machine computers have made your society a cybernetic society, we are not living in agricultural society, we are not living in early industrial society, we are living in cybernetic society. And if we want to run our life, or if we want to run our whole society according to norms of agricultural societies, then there will be problem. There will be disorganization, conflict, distrust, disintegration, violence, disharmony, alienation or dissatisfaction for a large section of population. And even without giving examples, I can say, and I think you can understand this, that if you look at your norms, family norms, marriage norms, religious norms, these norms were created in situation of a very different kind. When these norms were created, by which our religious priests and our dharma gurus want our life to be conducted today, these norms were created in a very different situation, very different circumstances. And if you want to live your life according to those norms, not in society of that time, not in nomadic society, not in agricultural society, but in cybernetic society, then there are problems for you and also problems for society. New norms will have to be created. What these new norms will be is still, we are not very clear about that. But what these sociologists point out is that cybernetic society is passing through a phase of social and individual disorganization. Many of the problems of our times, psychological problems, neurosis, psychosis, maladjustment, alienation, not finding satisfaction in life, conflicts, religious, caste, class, conflicts, weak governance, or declining trust in government, in state, they are indicative of some deep-rooted changes in society, and that is that we are moving towards a new type of society which will require different types of norms. It appears that, to Gisbert it appears, though one can debate whether this is going to happen or not, that this new society will be divided more on the basis of how people use their leisure time, not on the basis of anything else. And there will be alpha type and beta type. With this, we take up another idea of social change, and that is and related to alpha beta, but not completely confined to this aspect. What will the nature of progress in the future? What will be evolution? What kind of evolution will occur? And why does evolution occur at all? And here we can talk of natural and social selection. There are many concepts associated with this kind of thing: laissez-faire, survival of the fittest, are some of these ideas still important? Survival of the fittest, adaptation. In the past, anthropologists, sociologists looked at social change in terms of some of these things. Adaptation. Yes, adaptation is there. That, for example, those animals, including human beings, who develop lungs, could survive better on Earth. And those animals, fish and others, who developed gills, they could survive in water. We could not survive we human beings cannot survive inside the water, and fish cannot live on Earth. So there is a role of environment. Palms can be found in warm climate, and elms can be found in cold latitudes only. So there is adaptation. And that means role of natural factors. Natural factors, adaptation, environmental conditions play an important role in selection. But then this raises a number of questions. Two central questions which can be raised in this context of natural and social selection and survival of the fittest is, or two questions are: one, are the survivors fittest? Are the survivors the fittest people? How do we define fitness? Yes, there is a struggle for survival. There is fight for survival. Some survive, some do not survive. But how do you define fitness? Is this fitness purely physical or intellectual? Is this fitness only physical? When you talk about adaptation to natural environment, you are mostly talking about physical adaptation. But some sociologists, Darwin himself, in whose name we have the theory of social Darwinism or social evolution, Darwin thought that acquired intellectual capabilities can also be transmitted to the next generation. And he felt that in survival of the fittest, inherited physical as well as intellectual or achieved kind of characteristics, intelligence, will play an important role. We can ask this question whether, but this is a debatable issue. Not everyone agrees with this. Not everyone agrees with the position that sons of mathematicians are likely to be better in mathematics. So physical and intellectual. And second, the role of social factors and the role of positive factors like cooperation, love, planning, equality, humanism, etc., etc. Humanism. If society is a battlefield of some kind and the best persons are surviving, then does this mean only those physical and intellectual traits or power or arms or military techniques, warfare, gunpowder, through which you could win, you could invade other territories, you could win your enemy, destroy them completely? Or does, in the progress of society, whatever be the meaning of your progress of society, these things also play an important role. Is there any role of equality, humanism, cooperation, equilibrium, empathy, justice, or virtues, values and ethics uh, in the social progress? It's a difficult question to answer. Gisbert discusses that question and gives some examples also. I was reading some time back, I thought that today I will read a paragraph from this book. Some time back, I read a book, this title is Genghis Khan. In Hindi, we say Changiz Khan. This is a book, a very authentic research-based book on Genghis Khan, or Genghis Khan. In one paragraph, it says, Genghis Khan's only redeeming quality in Voltaire's play was that he reluctantly recognized the moral superiority of the better educated. The more I see Voltaire's quoted Genghis Khan as saying, the more I must admire this wondrous people, great in arts and arms, in learning and in manners great. Their kings on wisdom's basis founded all their power. Genghis Khan ended the play with a question. What have I gained by all my victories, by all my guilty laurels stained with blood? To which Voltaire answered, the tears, the sighs, the curses of mankind. And with these words, Voltaire himself began the modern cursing of the Mongols. First of all, what is fitness? And if you define fitness in terms of survival of the fittest, Darwinist, social Darwinist, or evolutionary principle, then it's not clear what is the meaning of fitness. If fitness is only physical survival or ruthless elimination of other tribes or other countries or other populations. Is that really fitness? And does history show that only ruthless people have survived or ruthless people have won, and simple, peace-loving, cooperative people living according to principles, justice, ethics, they have always suffered? And has there not been any rule of these positive ethics or virtues in progress of mankind? So social change any discussion on social change must answer some of these questions. When I was reading this word, many examples were coming to my mind. It's physical fitness, like you all have heard about this, maybe you have read one or two books of this person, Stephen William Hawking. He was the director at the Center of Theoretical Cosmology in Cambridge University. He is completely paralyzed. Quite early in life, he is completely paralyzed. And for 30 years or more, he has been professor of mathematics in Cambridge and then the director of the Center of Theoretical Cosmology. And he is known for his first-class, original, and very valuable research on black holes. He is the person who showed that black holes also release some radiations, and his contribution to theory of relativity, string theory, that is very well known. Completely paralyzed. So is physical fit in the life of individual or in the life of society? Is physical everything? And where shall we place the contributions of these people, like around 1938, when China was invaded by Japan? Mao Zedong, on the request of Mao Zedong, and Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose he was then the president of Indian National Congress, organized a team of doctors, volunteers on voluntary basis. And one of them was Dwarkanath Kotnis. Maybe some of you, if you have not seen, use your, what is that? D plus, D plus plus, DC plus plus. Use your DC plus plus to watch Kotnis ki Amar Kahani. And this man goes to China and serves the wounded soldiers of China in Japanese invasion. And he provides his services for nearly 5 years in China. Chinese people still remember his name. Only some time back, his graveyard was renovated. Finally, after spending 5 years there, he died of epilepsy. I don't know, we do not have records of whether he carried epilepsy before he left for China or because of his hard work there among the soldiers, he died of epilepsy. Now, is there no role of such people? Is there no role of Christ or Buddha or Muhammad Sahib or Ram or Krishna? People who talked of values, love, cooperation, peace. Is only if survival means only physical survival, then the barbarian, ruthless, cruel Mongols or Mughals or Sikandar, Alexander the Great. So these people must be respected because these people understood the theory of the survival of the fittest. But the records show that neither they themselves were happy, nor the societies or the countries where they went were ever happy. So what is then progress? If progress is defined in these terms, survival of the fittest or laissez-faire, it justifies laissez-faire. It justifies exploitation. It justifies dominance, discrimination. It justifies wars, conflicts, because survival of the fittest. Those who are fit, the word is like a war of all against all, and those who will, only the fit people will survive. Then there is justification for injustice, inequality, dominance, discrimination, prejudices, wars, heinous crimes. And you must sing the glory of Alexander and Genghis Khan, Muhammad Ghori. We must worship them. And we must be like them only. We must teach our children, our society, our students in classroom to be like Genghis Khan, because survival of the fittest is the right perspective on evolution. But Gisford seems to be on the other side, that these positive things, virtues, to contribute. What is more important for progress, or what will be found to be more important for progress of mankind subsequently, whether these negative traits or positive traits? Only future will tell us. But the aim of this chapter was to reject the theory, evolutionary theory. Evolutionary theory inevitably leads to the theory of survival of the fittest. So to reject this kind of evolutionary theory and say that in the progress of mankind, ethics, virtuous life, and values will play or should play an important role. The kind of progress that will come from application of such virtues will be real progress. And other types of progress or survival, even if it leads to survival, will lead to tears, sighs, and pain. So, now in the next lecture, I will focus more on the second part of that social change, urbanization.